July 1941, Auschwitz concentration camp, German-occupied Poland. Towards the end of the month, a prisoner managed to escape. The Nazis were not happy. The deputy camp commander decided that 10 prisoners would die because of the one escaped prisoner. The 10 men selected would be starved to death in an underground bunker to deter further escape attempts. One of the men selected to die began to cry out, "Oh, my poor wife, my poor children, I shall never see them again." Unable to bear this, prisoner 16670 silently stepped forward, took off his cap, and stood before the commandant and said, quote, "I am a Catholic priest. Let me take his place. I am old. He has a wife and children." Prisoner 16670 was actually a Franciscan priest named Maximilian Kolbe, and he pointed to the condemned man and repeated, "I am a Catholic priest from Poland. I would like to take his place because he has a wife and children." His request would be granted. Father Kolbe would take the man's place and would face death along with the 9 other men selected. Before we continue, however, let's travel back in time. Maximilian Kolbe was born Raymond Kolbe on January 8, 1894 in the Kingdom of Poland, which was then part of the Russian Empire. Maximilian was the second son of Julius Kolbe and Maria Dabrowska. His father was an ethnic German and his mother of Polish origins. Shortly after his birth, his family moved to Pabianice, a small town in central Poland. Kolbe's life was strongly influenced in 1906, when he was 12, by a vision of the Virgin Mary. He later described this incident. Quote, "That night I asked the Mother of God what was to become of me. Then she came to me holding 2 crowns, one white, the other red. She asked me if I was willing to accept either of these crowns. The white one meant that I should persevere in purity, and the red meant that I should become a martyr. I said that I would accept both of them." In 1907, Kolbe and his older brother Francis decided to join the Conventional Franciscans. They illegally crossed the border between Russia and Austria-Hungary and joined the Conventional Franciscan Junior Seminary. In 1910, Kolbe was allowed to enter the novitiate. He professed his first vows in 1911, adopting the name Maximilian, and his final vows in 1914 in Rome, adopting the names Maximilian Maria to show his veneration of the Blessed Virgin Mary. In 1912, he was sent to Krakow, and in the same year to a college in Rome, where he studied philosophy, theology, mathematics, and physics. He earned a doctorate in philosophy in 1915 at the Pontifical Gregorian University and a doctorate in theology in 1919 at the Pontifical University of St. Bonaventure. During his time as a student, he witnessed vehement demonstrations against Popes Pius X and Benedict XV in Rome and was inspired to organize the Militia Immaculata, or Army of Mary, to work for conversions of sinners and the enemies of the Catholic Church through the intercession of the Virgin Mary. In 1918, Kolbe was ordained a priest. In 1919, he returned to the newly independent Poland, where he was very active in promoting the veneration of the Immaculate Virgin Mary, founding and supervising a monastery near Warsaw, a seminary, a radio station, and several other organizations and publications. Between 1930 and 1936, he took a series of missions to Japan, where he founded a monastery at the outskirts of Nagasaki, a Japanese paper, and a seminary. The monastery he founded remains prominent in the Roman Catholic Church in Japan to this day. Kolbe decided to build the monastery on a mountainside that, according to Shinto beliefs, was not the side best suited to be in tune with nature. When the atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, Kolbe's monastery was saved because the blast of the bomb hit the other side of the mountain, which took the main force of the blast. Had Kolbe built the monastery on the preferred side of the mountain as he was advised, his work and all of his fellow monks would have been destroyed. During the Second World War, he provided shelter to refugees from Greater Poland, including 2,000 Jews whom he hid from Nazi persecution in his friary. He was also active as a radio amateur with Polish call letters SP3RN, vilifying Nazi activities through his reports. On February 17, 1941, Kolbe was arrested by the Gestapo and thrown into prison. On May 25th, he was transferred to Auschwitz I as prisoner number 16670. Continuing to act as a priest, Kolbe was subjected to violent harassment, including beatings and lashings. July 1941, Auschwitz concentration camp, German-occupied Poland. A prisoner has escaped and now the Nazis will murder 10 men as retribution. Side note, the prisoner who had disappeared was later found drowned in the camp latrine, or the toilets. One of the selected men cried out, laminating his family, and Father Maximilian Kolbe volunteered to take his place. The 10 men were locked in a cell in the basement of Block 11, a block notorious for torture, to deter further escape attempts. During the time in the cell, Father Kolbe led the men in songs and prayer. Each time the guards checked on him, Kolbe was standing or kneeling in the middle of the cell and looking calmly at those who entered. After 2 weeks of dehydration and starvation, most of the prisoners were already dead, but some of them, including Father Kolbe, were still showing signs of life. The guards wanted the bunker emptied, so they gave the remaining prisoners lethal injections of carbolic acid. Kolbe is said to have raised his left arm and calmly waited for the deadly injection. Kolbe died on August 14, 1941. His remains were cremated the following day, the 15th, the feast day of the Assumption of Mary. On May 12, 1955, Kolbe was recognized by the Holy See as a servant of God. This title is used in the Catholic Church to indicate that an individual is on the first step towards possible canonization as a saint. Kolbe was declared venerable by Pope Paul VI on January 30, 1969, beatified as a confessor of the faith by the same Pope in 1971, and canonized as a saint by Pope John Paul II on October 10, 1982. Upon canonization, the Pope declared Maximilian Kolbe as a confessor and a martyr of charity.